Welcome back, folks, to Two Brits One Puck. I'm your host, Mr. Intangibles, a proud man and a corner boy, Dan Masters, with my good friend, the leader of Hockey Human Resources, and a man who once ate food cooked by prisoners, Will Everett Human. Will, how you doing?
Very well, Dan. Very well indeed. How are you?
Not bad, mate, not bad. Again, not really a question this week, but I had to kind of get this in somewhere. And also, like I mentioned last week in regards to Bruce Boudreau being fired and me just forgetting that happened, I wrote down OV and I had no idea why. And then I remembered, oh yeah, it's his 700th goal this week.
Ovechkin put it right on a platter for him. Kuznetsov for Ovechkin. Drive! He scores! His spectacular history-making continues. 700 red lights.
He has just joined an exclusive club, and there's all of 8, which matches his number for the Washington Capitals. His group is second to none. We may never see another 700 goal scorer.
And I just kind of forgot that had happened because some Zamboni driving goaltender had taken over the world.
Wait,
so I think we just yeah. Just take a second just to appreciate Mr. Ovechkin and what he's done.
I love how he got to 698. It was like, oh, he's going to hit 700, and then he didn't do it in the next game. So the collective hockey world was like, fucking then, whatever. Nobody cares anymore. you missed your shot, Ovi. Don't care. Because didn't he go like 5 games without scoring or something?
Yeah, and he had something ridiculous like 15 shots a game or something. He was averaging ridiculous amounts of shots.
I haven't watched many Caps games at all this season. I just imagine now Ovi's at the point where he's like, I don't give a fucking shit. If I've got the puck and I'm across the red line, that thing's going on net. Like, I don't give a fuck.
It's just personal glory now. What else has he got left?
Yeah, straight for the 900 club.
And I didn't realise this, but he's the second youngest ever to do it, which is mad, really.
To get 700?
700, yeah, second youngest.
Second only to Wanye.
Yeah. Who did it when he was like 26 or something? You know, those crazy Gretzky stats.
Yeah, where he's scored 90 goals a season from the age of 18 to 25.
Exactly. But yeah, what a guy.
I mean, it makes sense. If he's going to be the second highest scorer, potentially the highest scorer in history, then it makes sense he's the second fastest to 700, because you kind of have to be in this day and age, don't you?
Just surprised me now. Mr. Ovechkin, what a great guy. And he's going to be a dad again. The boy can't miss.
Well, I wonder how many shots a game he takes for that.
I was going to say every time he shoots it goes in, but that wouldn't be right, would it?
That'd be.
I guess
maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe he's like he knows that he's dangerous in front of the crease, so he limits his chances.
How many high danger chances did he take?
No, I think it's all a lot of low percentage opportunities that he's taken there.
It's a fair point. I wonder if getting his wife pregnant was the same as trying to get 700 goals. He just kept shooting and shooting and shooting. In the end, one of them went in.
Stuck on 698 for games and games and games.
All right, there's a fair bit to get on with. Should we get on with the show?
I suppose you probably should.
Hey everybody, it is that time of the week. It is the Smooth Recap. I'm not sure if you've heard this or not, but a Zamboni driver who works as a practice goalie for the Toronto Marlies played in goal against the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday and got his first ever NHL win at 42 years old. Take a bow, David Ayres.
They're going to have to invent a draft pick higher than a first rounder for next year's trade deadline, just in case any genuinely talented players get moved.
You can't say that Toronto fans don't support their team, as they really got behind them during the third period on Saturday night, with loud chants of "Let's go Raptors."
Patrick Marleau has been dubbed the worst friend in history after abandoning Joe Thornton for greener pastures in Pittsburgh. This isn't the first time the noted deserter has abandoned his beloved chum, and I fear it won't be the last.
You can be forgiven for the Leafs struggling against David Ayres, because how can you expect a team with 3 10 million plus forwards to register more than 10 shots in 29 minutes against a kidney replacing buildings operations managing Zamboni driving goalie?
Johnny Gaudreau, you teasing little bastard. I hope all that Nutella you eat glues your fucking windpipe shut.
Kyle Dubas was so enamoured with David Ayres, he took him fishing the next day. Knowing he had a goalie next to him, Dubas knew how to use him best. As Kyle landed a big fish, he motioned Ayres over to the pole, resting in the water. Dubas was struggling and asked, "Can you keep net for me?" Ayres said, "Nah mate, I don't want a job."
Gabriel Velarde has gone from being so injured he was not legally a prospect anymore to scoring his first goal on his first NHL shot. Go on, son.
It was great to see David Ayres get a Hockey Night in Canada towel. To be fair though, he probably didn't need it, as he'd already wiped the floor with the Leafs.
Congratulations to you, Dan, on finally being rid of the salary cap scourge that is David Backes. Long may the David Krejci contract haunt you.
And that was your smooth recap. We've got to do this now. David Ayres, let's get it done.
Well, before we do that, I just want to point out how you've not performed this task in good faith, Dan.
Why?
Because every last one of your points was about David Ayres, which is just not... It's just not cricket. Where we've got this split of you do the East, I do the West. You can't just... Do you know how hard I had to search for news? Not that there wasn't news, I just couldn't fucking find it because everyone was talking about David Ayres.
The best thing was, I promise you, as after that happened, the next day I woke up and I honestly, one of the first things I thought was, oh, my smooth recap's going to be a piece of piss this week. Will's fucked. It was two East teams. You couldn't even piggyback off another team because it was two teams from the East. It was great.
Absolutely livid. Absolutely livid. Not as livid as it seems everybody is about this whole situation, this e-bug situation.
Let's get because we're going to get into this right now. Let's try and get it done.
Let's just do it. Let's just do it.
Right then, e-bug. Your thoughts? Go.
How do I feel about the whole e-bug thing?
Yeah, should they have dedicated goalies instead of essentially like a third goalie on the roster almost who does this job for the team? Or should there be one guy, sat in a room somewhere waiting? No,
mate. It should be your starters down. Okay, get your backup in. Oh, your backup's down. I'd like you, mate. Your 16 man's going in. Footy rules. Rio Ferdinand.
We did say that a few months ago, didn't we?
Just I don't know because we're either
Actually, no, you can't do that. You can't do that though because that's if a footy player gets sent off, then his team should be punished in some way. And if it's your choice to not have a backup goalie, that's just your fault. Or, if it's your choice to not have a sub goalie, that's just tough shit. That's your fault. Yeah, but if two goalies get injured, that's not your team's fault. There should be at least a competent goalie somewhere who can step in.
But if that happened in footy, you'd still have to chuck someone between the sticks, though, wouldn't you?
That's a fair point, actually. Yeah, if your goalie and your sub goalie gets hurt, then it's
just rare. It's just rare in football.
I was thinking you might see a situation in future where all D men who are 6'7" or taller are just getting signed up by teams just in case they need a massive body in net, just to kind of just squat there and deflect pucks.
Get your Charas, your Jamie Alexiaks in there, I don't know how you fix it. Maybe you expand the rosters. There's talk of that. Just having, and you have the choice of dressing a third goalie or not.
Do you know what though? I know somebody mentioned that. I'm sure the guys at In Goal Media mentioned that today. How about a third goalie who does this kind of job? But you just know teams are going to find a way around it that they then don't have to have one of their other goalies doing something, or he gets extra breast or something like that. Teams will find a way to fudge it, won't they?
Well, if it's an idea of
use it to cheat,
like a dedicated, non-roster player who is employed as an e-bug rather than just being is there a goalie in the building? It's going to end up with players like, say, Kari Lehtinen, who's just retired, or a goalie who's just retired, not worth a proper roster spot, made their money or whatever. You're like, right, we'll give you a nominal fee. Do you want to be our e-bug? That's how it'd be exploited by teams getting real recent pros in to do it rather than what it is now, which is amateur hour.
It'd have to be ruled up to the hilt because, teams will always look at the salary cap relief for players on LTIR and stuff. I'm sure when the salary cap was introduced, they didn't think, oh, well, this is impenetrable. Nobody can break the salary cap, but you kind of can, really. If you're willing to take on injured players and stuff, you can kind of cheat it.
It's a really easy salary cap to cheat, as people have been doing it since day dot, really, haven't they?
I know, and the same would happen with this. And it's the fucking NHL. You think the NHL are gonna get some kind of third string goalie roster spot correct and do it? Of course they're not. It's just gonna get fucked up, and then we'll be back to square one again.
I don't quite know what's going to happen or how they're going to go around changing it, but I'll tell you what, David Ayres would be the last of his kind, without a doubt.
I think you're right.
Without a doubt.
And it's a shame. It's a fucking shame. Do you know what's amazing is, like, just think about this, right? Every single time something happens that promotes hockey and promotes the NHL, it's got nothing to do with the NHL. Nothing at all. It's all an accident. It's all by mistake. They could, and now they're trying to. I get it. I do kind of understand it. But immediately this thing happens, and they're like, "Oh shit, we'd better discuss this and sort it out." Forgetting the fact he won. If the Leafs ended up winning that game 17-3, all right, yeah, fair enough. Maybe there's something to it, but they didn't, and it doesn't. So it, like, what's the massive issue? I don't know.
Well, I can understand why the league might not be happy about it, because a team with some of the best forwards in the game, certainly some of the most high paid forwards in the game, couldn't score on a beer league goalie sort of thing. But I hate saying that, because one of the things that's really naffed me off about this whole procedure is the complete disrespect being offered towards David Ayres by so many members of the media.
Yeah.
Constantly highlighting 42 years old beer league Zamboni driver or whatever. It's like, mate, give the guy some credit and stop using your frustration with the Leafs as an excuse to just fucking bash this bloke who's just had an incredible experience. Like, David Ayres didn't ask to go in there. He didn't ask for the Leafs to be shit.
Are you buying into this conspiracy theory then, that we're getting this now because it was the Leafs, or are you buying into the man holding you back by? Or was there, actually e-bugs were already on the agenda for the next GM meeting? Actually, so it's not because it's the Leafs.
I bet they were.
Yeah, you're buying into the conspiracy theory then, are you?
Oh, mate, of course I am.
Yes, that's my boy. Let's go. Love it.
No one was talking about this when Scott Foster did it.
Nope.
He didn't even concede a goal. No,
completely agree.
When it happened with Scott Foster, everyone was like, "Oh, amazing, Scott Foster." Yeah, well done, Scott Foster. And now that it's happened to the Leafs, it's like, oh, yeah, that's what it is. It's just fucking embarrassing. Like, Jesus Christ. You know the story of how the NHL started, Dan, don't you? With the old...
the boys on the pond?
No, what was it, the NLA? No, not the NLA.
Oh, yes.
NHA.
Sorry, I thought you were going to... Sorry, yeah. A bit.
No. Genuine, well, it's kind of a bit. Everything's a bit. Really,
okay. Yeah.
So the NHA, and then they started the NHL because the owner of the Leafs or the Toronto franchise at the time was a wanker, and everyone else was like, "Fuck this guy, let's start a new league." I vote we do that again, but instead of just like getting rid of MLSE as an owner, just get rid of fucking Toronto as a market. Fuck a lot of them. Let's see you later. It's over. Send him to the sea. It's over. I've got no more time for the influence that this fucking team has on this league.
I've not heard get in the sea in an absolute dog's age.
I want that entire team to get in the sea. They should. Is it a reasonable request? Yes, I think it is. Poor David Ayres. It's like John Scott all over again.
Yeah, it's infuriating. NHL, just lean into it. Maybe that's part of the thing that makes the league great. Is that how many times do you see that? Oh my God! Imagine if there was a quarterback injury and a call goes out over the tannoy. Is there a quarterback in the building? And some guy comes down and does it. That's what this is. This is stuff of legend. They will make a film out of this. They have to make a film out of this just because of his life and everything that's gone on. And the league immediately is just, oh, well, we can't have this again. This is a disgrace. Why is it a disgrace? Because one of the supposed top teams played absolute dog shit. I don't understand.
Isn't there a legend about Harry Redknapp and like a fan giving it to him in the stands during like a pre-season friendly, and then he turns around to him and is like, "Come on, bro, get down here. You're going
on. You go, son."
How about Dan? How about so the David Ayres thing is fantastic, and you reckon it's giving the NHL like oodles more publicity than it would have had otherwise. What about, instead of doing away with e-bugs, we do away with goalies and just have e-bugs? every game.
No goalies at all.
Every game is like a new fan or a new amateur goalie in the crease.
Yeah, it's like down the park with your mates playing footy. You just line up against the wall and just pick. I'll take Steve. All right, I'll have Johnny then. All right, I'll have Matt. You just do that.
No NHL contracted goalies, just like a rotation of...
Home team gets to pick first. Home team, there's four e-bugs. Home team picks first, and that's it. That's all you need.
Is that right? You've got the choice between Graham the accountant, you've got Dave the Sparky.
It's just, and it's amazing as well. That just, how much did Florida spend on their goalie again?
I don't know. I wouldn't. It's not something I've ever kept track of.
No, me neither.
It proves that I want to be careful because I don't want to be horrible to David Ayres, but anyone could do it. Like, if you've played some modicum of goal before, that you're not that different to Carey Price.
It's so true. It's so true. Yeah, I'll make this point first, actually. Shout out to the Hurricanes, who were absolutely unbelievable. They were unbelievable after the goalies went out. He concedes on his first 2 shots, and then the Hurricanes are like, actually, yeah, we need to really step up here and play. They come out the third period, take 2 quick goals. That's it. Game over. The game was over. He faced, I know everyone knows this, but he faced 10 shots in 29 minutes. 10!
It's disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. But like you say, power to the Canes for solidifying in front of him. Imagine what is that? What is that second intermission team talk like from Rob Brindable? David Ayres is just there, and he's like, "Right, fucking better do it for Big Dave, or else."
The Hurricanes were forechecking on the penalty kill. They were like, fuck this. You ain't having the puck at all. It was insane.
It's fucking over. You got no chance to breathe, boys.
They were absolutely amazing. Absolutely. Do you know in his last game before this one, he allowed 11 goals on 46 shots?
that was in the AHL, wasn't it? For the Checkers. Where he was an e-bug there. I'll tell you what. God. How's he not lost his job with the Leafs yet?
I have no idea. Do you know what they're saying about that Cal Dubas, aren't they? He's too nice, he's too this, he's too that. Fucking hell, if that was Lou, Sonny, you're fucking done. Get out of here, boy.
You think you can fucking go out there and fucking stop our fucking shots and come back here and take a paycheck out of my fucking pocket? Get the fuck out of here.
Here's a question.
Go on.
Do you think it was very weird that the Leaf players were stick tapping him at the end of the second period?
Were they?
As David Ayres is skating off the ice, some of the Leafs players are just giving him a little tap.
Oh, mate.
What are you doing?
What
are you doing?
I don't know. He's still your mate, though, isn't he? He's still your
Fuck
mate.
that. No. I disagree. At that point, it should be killer instinct. If it's me, I do my absolute best to run up the score, and then I apologise the next day.
Yeah, I didn't know about the stick taps at the end of the second period. Like, people losing their fucking cool over the stick taps at practice the next day. It's like, all right, mate, come on.
Yeah, next day's next day. That's fine.
Trying to go around his mum's house and start stabbing her. Like, what is this? Come on.
Just writing traitor on his mum's house and pen.
It was 6 years ago, Mitch. I don't care.
Your son's a traitor. Your son's a traitor.
Your son's a fucking.
But yeah. They should have annihilated him. And the next day after the battle's done, you're like, all right, sorry, Dave. What else are we supposed to do?
They should have annihilated him, Dan. I don't know if you heard, but he's 42 years old and he's a Zamboni driver. Like,
yeah, I don't know if you heard that or not.
That was his first NHL game at 42 years old. Probably should have scored a few more goals on him.
And I will say, I am a complicated man, Will, as you know. As you well know.
I love it when you preface an argument with, I am X type of man. Like, right, where we go with this?
No, because this is one of those things you're probably not going to believe. But after last season, when I was just... I am sick of the...
Ryan Reeves should have come over and should have run the crease and steamplowed him.
Annihilate him.
In revenge for his NHLPA brethren.
No, I actually had a little bit of sympathy's not the right word, but I had a little bit of something for Leafs fans because I don't fucking know how they stand by this team year after year after year. And shout out to some of the Leafs, because you know what? Every time they play away, there is hordes of Leafs fans there. They gave David Ayres a standing ovation after the game. They've got more class than me, because if that was me, I'd have been trying to climb over the glass to punch my own players. That's what I'd have been doing, because I'd have been furious. Now, to be fair, they were booing and stuff during the game. They were very annoyed. But they did give David Ayres a standing ovation afterwards. But Jesus Christ, that fan base. I tell you, man. Oh, God. It's not sympathy. I don't know what it is. But God almighty.
Mate, they're still third in the Atlantic. Everyone still needs to just calm the hell down on the Leafs. I don't know what the problem is. Yeah, they're not running away with it. But they've had their starting goaltender go down. They've had their top D-man go down. They've had a coaching change in season. Yeah, they've got a really good team, but it's still one fucking year. Like Tampa Bay missed the playoffs a few years ago. Like what? And Toronto are still fully in the race. All this hand wringing and the chicken little about the bloody Leafs. Yeah, they'll make the playoffs. Of course they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And if they don't, it's not the end of the world. Fucking James Myrtle. Did you see
not
James
for
Myrtle
you
article the other day?
No.
Mate, there's some article where he's like, is this the last hurrah for the Leafs core? So what the fuck are you talking about?
The Leafs core that signed for the next 5 years.
Yeah. And
all of them.
The majority of which are 23 and under. Yeah, it's over, mate. Finished.
I can't believe they went and sell us at the deadline.
I know. Probably better get rid of Austin Matthews before he starts falling off a cliff.
But it's expectation, isn't it? It's expectation. I had to listen to TSN the day after just to get there, and they made a good point, is that how many times can these players go through what is classed as a learning experience? So like 2017 playoffs when they lose to the Caps in 6. You're like, well, it's a young team, that's fine. They take the Bruins to 7 the year after. Yeah, okay, learning experience. Take the Bruins to 7 again, lose again. And it's like, right, okay, you keep having learning experiences. At what point are you going to kind of really show us what you can do? But I understand the other side. And like Friedman always says, how long did it take for Ovechkin to win a cup? You just got to keep going. You never know.
And it's not like they're getting bounced out by the Blue Jackets in 4 games or anything like that, or the bloody Islanders. They're going up against one of the best teams in the league. Give it a few years, 2-3 years, when the Bruins have fully fallen off and gone full San Jose, it won't be a problem anymore.
No, you're right.
They're a bit of a victim of the playoff format, but which you've still got to beat the good teams to win the cup, but it's just getting boring, isn't it? It
is mad.
Even the whining about them being crap when they're crap, fine, get that. Gloating about being good and reveling in the greatness of the young players is fine. Whining about this season is just doing my nut. Absolutely doing my nut. They're still better than a lot of teams in the league. And at the very least on paper.
Just over half. They're better than just over half the teams.
Yeah, exactly. And on paper, they've still got a shit on team. I don't see the problem.
I do agree with you. It's a funny old place.
Funny old world, Dan.
Okay, let's move on. Will, who is winning the cup?
David Ayres is winning the cup. He's already won the cup.
He's already won the cup.
No matter who wins it, get that application and just chuck his name on it.
I did put this on Twitter, but of all the teams this could have happened to, Carolina was absolutely one of the best ones. They've just immediately were like, right, we're getting shirts put out. And they've already said, haven't they, they're gonna give him some money from the shirts, and he said he's going to donate some of it to a kidney foundation, which is just amazing. It's just great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, really leaning into it. It's just what we like to see. Who have you got winning the cup?
If you don't think after this season the Leafs aren't winning the cup, you're mad. I am doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on my prediction, which I made when Babcock was in his worst funk. Now is the time to bet on the Leafs winning the cup. I am convinced they are winning the cup this year.
Because it can only get better.
Yeah, because it's all about stories nowadays. Mate, the fucking playoffs have got nothing to do with skill or fucking desire or work ethic or anything. It's just about stories. Now, other teams have stories, I agree. But I think the most powerful story at the moment is that how could the team who lost to a Zamboni driver win the Stanley Cup? That's the strongest story for me to this week. Maybe next week could be different. But right now, I've got the Leafs winning a cup.
I can get behind it in like an X Factor sort of way.
Yeah, you can go back for the past, and this has only happened for the past maybe 4 or 5 seasons, but every team's had a good story.
Yeah, I think I'll give you that one. I'll give you that.
All right then. Who's getting relegated?
I'm really getting Leafs media. I didn't know we were going to do David Ayres before all of these, so it's a lot of rehashing. I'm going to specifically relegate. I don't know who the other host is, but the TSN morning radio show that Carlo Koliakovo. Jeez Louise. The one that he hosts with some other geezer, because they were specifically cussing out David Ayres left, right and centre. It's like, mate, get a fucking life. So yeah, fuck those boys. Who are you going to relegate?
I've got to relegate the Florida Panthers, because even after adding a $10 million goalie and a 3-time cup-winning coach, they still seem to have no bloody idea what the hell they're doing. Like,
if there's anything we love, it's beating salt into the dead horse's wounds. Nothing I enjoy more.
Oh, yeah. 3rd place in the Atlantic is right there. It is right there. Because let's be honest, they should be clear of the Leafs. They should be. Like, looking at their schedule and the teams they've played, they should be a good 4 or 5 points ahead. But no, just still faffing around, Florida-ing it up like they always do.
And the Leafs just lost to a 42-year-old Zamboni driver.
Yeah, did you hear about that?
I just now, yeah. It's come to my attention.
I keep saying this, but could you imagine if Bobrovsky was just league average? Fucking...
No, I can't.
If you said
that good an imagination.
I can't remember that far back. If you said at the start of the season, for a team to be really, really good, their $10 million goalie would just have to be league average, you'd be thinking, what? I'm paying $10 million for league average, and that's going to really help me. Yes, it would.
I think other teams in the league should be worried that $10 million doesn't even get you league average anymore. What are you going to have to start paying these goalies for them to perform at 500?
I know, yeah.
If they'd have maybe paid him 14 million, he'd have been good.
He might have been all right, yeah. If he'd have been the highest paid player in the league, maybe they've had a chance. Unbelievable.
Maybe.
Just mad.
What's Conor McDavid's save percentage? Nobody's asking that question.
Exactly.
And there you go.
It's probably better than Bobrovsky's. So.
It depends what an NA counts for.
Yeah.
Are we counting it as 1 or 0? Either way, it's probably not far off.
Let's say 1, just for lols. Florida's still Florida-ing. Unbelievable. How many starters you got?
I've got 1 starter and 3 scratches.
You ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Should I go and make a sandwich or something?
Big fucking damn boy starter over it. I got 6 starters.
But you need to stop taking so much joy in this fucking diabolical sport.
Well, it's not just a sport. It's the world in general.
It's very true.
Which also does not... Again, I'm a complicated man. But, yeah, 6 starters and 2 scratches. So I guess How many starters do you have? 1?
I've got 1.
Okay, I'll do 3 of mine.
It was hard to find a lot of news that wasn't David Ayres related this week.
Well, clearly I had 6 starters. You weren't looking hard enough, were you, William?
Clearly
no.
not, mate. Clearly, I wasn't in the zone. I couldn't see the wood for the David Ayres.
Okay. Couldn't see the wood for the Ayres. All right. My first starter, a name probably not familiar to you, but what he did will be. I'm going to start Kazuhisa Hashimoto.
What are your bloody wrestling people?
No, not at all. That's quite far away from that. He is the man who invented the Konami code.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
If you don't... The younger ones of you will not know what that is, but it's on a control pad for the original Nintendo. He put in a code to put a cheat into a game, and he forgot to take it out because he wanted to see if he could do it. Could you put a code in using a controller that would alter the game for you after it had been made? And the famous Konami code is up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, start. And not only could you use it on loads of games for the original Nintendo, but it became quite famous. So the code then was implemented into other games, and is still implemented into things now. You can go to certain websites now and put the code in, and it does stuff to the website. You can use it on Fortnite as well. And I think if you do it in Google, it does something to Google as well. But yeah, a man who invented the Konami code, and he passed away this week, and I believe he deserves his props.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to a legend in the game.
Yeah, if you think about pop culture, like an absolute, that man is an absolute pop culture icon from somebody from my generation, because everybody knew the Konami code when I was a kid.
I never played any games or knowingly played any games that used it.
Here's the thing, though. Yeah, loads of games used it. You can use it now on PlayStation 4 games. There's certain games that have the Konami code in. They just put it in as like a little Easter egg.
It's funny how, like, the cheat code is a nod rather than, specifically being, here's the code for the cheat. It's...
Yeah, rather than how it does something funny, like, it turns all your cars green or something stupid like that. It doesn't actually make you better at the game. It just gives you like a little, it's like a little Easter egg. That's good.
It's just nice to...
But anyway.
Oh, mate, R.I.P.
Yeah. Mr. Hashimoto, you absolute ledge. All right. My next starter, I got to start the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. Look, I'm old enough to remember when being the World Heavyweight Champion meant something. And a World Heavyweight title fight actually meant something. So the prospect of a all-British unification fight for the undisputed World Heavyweight Championship is pretty cool to me. I know you kids, it's all about your featherweights and your Mayweathers and your Pacquiaos and blah, blah, blah. But I'm from a time where you'd stick two bears in a ring and let them just pound on each other until one of them was, like, bleeding from his ear. And I enjoyed that.
Who's holding the other titles? Joshua?
Anthony Joshua, yeah.
Yeah, I've got nothing on boxing. Sorry.
You kids. My next starter, I'm going to shout out Bobby Ryan, who reportedly has hit 100 days sober this week. And a man like myself will appreciate his struggle greatly. A degenerate drinker like Will cannot. But well done to you, Bobby Ryan.
I'll jump in and do my starter now. Yeah, power to you, Bobby Ryan, for facing your demons, brother. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to do to look in the mirror and say I've got a problem with something, and then to act upon it, not just have it as a momentary, I'll stop tomorrow, and yeah, he's done it, and I want to see him back on the ice and doing what he does, doing what he did best, scoring some goals.
Even in times of happiness, we have to have a little dig, don't we?
Oh yeah, of course. Can't especially Bobby Ryan. We've had our fun with Mr. Ryan before. We can't let him go now.
No, not at all. But yeah, congrats to him. 100 days, a great milestone. So that was your starter then, yeah?
That was my starter. Yeah, I thought I'd sandwich it in.
All right, my next starter, quick one. I'm going to shout out the Detroit Red Wings because you've got to respect this tank. They are the first team to be mathematically eliminated from playoff contention prior to the trade deadline since the 2003-04 Penguins.
Have they been eliminated now?
Yeah, so well done to them. Well done to them.
I thought they were just taking the Blues model to the absolute extreme. I thought,
No. Unfortunately not.
It's backfired.
Yeah, the Isa plan is still in full effect.
I think it's going to work. We'll see what happens. I'm intrigued to see what happens with the Red Wings in the coming years.
Yeah, me too. Very intrigued. A very interesting plan. Have you got
any more? Or is that it? All good.
No, there's two more.
It just keeps going. Just keeps going.
I'm going to start Artemi Panarin, who is having a sneaky, great season. Not just good, great. He's already hit 85 points in 63 games. And shout out to Jason and his computer buddies at Wave Intel, because if you look at his player chart on there, he has been defensively excellent as well. And I get it. It's, hardly spoiler alert, 11 million player is good. But I didn't think he'd be this good this season on this team. But he is, and I love the Breadman. I've always said he scored my favourite goal of like the last 10 years. So
that's
awesome.
The thing. He's this good on a team that, to be honest, is only doing better than they should be because of his contributions.
Actually, who's got the next most points? Let's have a look.
Probably Zibanejad.
Yeah, Zibanejad's 24 points behind. He's got 61.
That's pretty rough. 61 still pretty good though. That's almost a point per game.
Fucking hell, Anthony D'Angelo, 46 points he's got so far this season.
Yeah, but at what cost?
I don't know. Death and destruction? I don't know. What is the cost?
Just being a massive racist.
Well, yeah, all right. When you put it like that, that's a fair point. For a second, when you said at what cost, I thought you were going to talk about his cap hit next season or something when they give him like an $8 million contract or something.
Oh, mate. Probably 5.5 for like 8 years. Let's not talk about Rangers giving out contracts. Jesus Christ.
I've still not gotten over $8 million for Jacob Trouba. I still can't get over it.
I think I'm thinking more recently in the Chris Kreiders deal. Fucking hell.
We can talk about that in a bit. Okay. My final start, people, as you'll be happy to hear. I got to start Nathan Gerbe. Shout out to Pocket Hercules, who won a victory for smaller men everywhere.
Pocket Hercules, that's such a fucking cuss.
I still...
The pocket.
Pocket Hercules. I stole that from primetime Deion Sanders. He used to describe an NFL player like that because he was like a small. I'm pretty sure it was Maurice Jones-Drew, who was like a smaller guy but would just crush people, and he'd be like fucking Hercules, and it's the name that stuck in my head. He crushes Claude Giroux with a massive hit, and then Travis Sandheim, who's a foot taller, comes in thinking he's fucking Jack the Biscuit. Oh, no. Gerbe takes him down as well. Fantastic. A victory for vertically challenged men everywhere.
Where have you gotten Jack the Biscuit from?
He came in thinking he was Jack the Biscuit. I can't remember.
What's Jack the Biscuit?
A guy who thinks he's all that in a bag of crisps.
Fucking, they didn't have to make him different up your way. Jesus.
I'll say, I can't remember where I heard Jack the Biscuit from. I just love it though. Guy who thinks he's all that just comes in like Jack the Biscuit. Don't tell me you're not going to drop that. You don't tell me you're not going to drop that reference at some point with your mates because it's just going to fall out of you.
Jack the Biscuit. Sakes.
Okay. As I asked you 25 minutes ago, but I've now forgotten. How many scratches have you got?
I've got a trio, a nice trio of scratches.
Alrighty, I'll let you go first, and you go first.
Thanks. My first scratch is going to be David Ayres, who has an 800 save percentage on the season and really should be in the AHL at least. He's never going to get on my team. Fucking hell.
Should be playing in Florida, shouldn't he?
Liability. It doesn't earn enough to play in Florida, unfortunately.
Good point.
How many have you got? Have you just got one?
Yeah, I've only got one, so I'll do mine now. I have to scratch Joe Thornton not going back to Boston. The Bruins missed an absolute trick here. An absolute trick. Because as we've already discussed, hockey's about the story. Which team's got the best story? Teams don't matter, players don't matter, coaching doesn't matter. The team that wins has the best story at the time. Now, Patrick Marleau and the Penguins are very clever. They've already got their story ready, you see. He's already been traded. You need to counter the Penguins story with your own story. What better than Jumbo going back to Boston? The rumours were that there was never any even contact. There was no teams that were interested in him who were contenders. Because I heard Calgary, Vegas, Dallas I think was in on him at one point, weren't they?
Yeah,
and Boston.
But Stars fancied it.
I'm not sure if it was that they couldn't agree a price or no sort of good enough teams were in on him and he didn't think it was worth it, but I tell you, I think the Bruins missed a trick.
Shame really. Especially when you've got someone in your own conference who's gearing up for a good story.
Exactly. Well, it's two teams now. It's terrible. All right, and your scratches?
So my next one is going to be Julien Brisebois. I know we had a lengthy conversation about his exploits last week.
We did.
But I was just going to say, all arguments aside, whether they make sense or not, 2 first-round picks for Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman is a fireable offence. I don't care the situation. I don't care what. Like, mate, come on.
I want to say, in my defence, I didn't know last week when I was saying the Blake Coleman deal wasn't that bad, he was going to do it again this week. So I stand by my defence last week.
And I know I'm still with you to an extent on that. Like I completely I get it.
But this week I got nothing, mate. Sorry.
It's just ridiculous. It's taking
it's insane.
It's going to do a fucking first for Ross Johnston next week. There it is. There he is. Back with a bang. And my last one, I'm going to scratch Wayne Simmonds because he needs to get some fucking help. Like, Jesus Christ. Come on, mate. He's deluded. He's lost it. He thinks he's going to help the Sabres. Like, what? Poor guy.
That's we're going to go through the trades in a minute. I had that on my sort of list of trades that happened with them, me having a follow-up question. And my question was just this. When does Wayne Simmonds stop being a thing that people think they need?
It's not even that. Like, that side of it is, all right, fair enough. I kind of get why Buffalo would have interest in him. But he specifically...
I don't.
He had a no-trade clause. He had a limited list.
No, but I don't know why any team is interested in him. I'm not saying just Buffalo. I'm saying any team. Why are teams still picking up Wayne Simmonds? Nothing against the guy. In his day, he was great.
And
I was a big fan.
People are dumb,
but that day is gone.
Heard of him. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
That's why I understand. I'm not saying that I would want to trade for Wayne Simmonds, but I understand why an inept GM such as Jason Botterill has traded for Wayne Simmonds. Yeah, I thought players were a little bit smarter than that. Maybe he's one of these ones that's like, oh yeah, I don't really watch much hockey. I try to just focus on my team and what we're doing. So he gets a trade offer. He's like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. Doesn't know what's going on.
I guess credit to Buffalo for thinking they're still in with any shout of making it. I guess.
No.
Like in a deluded way.
Yeah, don't promote that sort of self-destructive behaviour.
No, well, I kind of appreciate them being like, no, we're still in it. It's still good. We're still good. We're still fine. But fucking mad. Just mad. Even for a 5th round pick in 2021, I'm still thinking, what?
That's
what are you doing? 5th round in 2021. And I'm thinking it's madness.
You could use that on some kid from the BCHL who's never even going to play for your ECHL team.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we dive into these trades then?
Well, yeah, before we get into the trades, we are on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and soon to be performing at a child's birthday party. Also, if you're feeling frisky, a 5-star review on iTunes would make us both hot and sweaty. Of course, the news this week, as always, sponsored by Wave Intel. Maybe if the Calgary Flames had checked out Wave Intel, they wouldn't have given up a 3rd round pick for Erik Gustafson. And if you check out Wave Intel, then you can send abusive messages to the GM of your team. Wave Intel online and on Twitter, being smart so you don't have to. I will say, I thought this was a very, very good trade deadline day. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. It was exciting.
Do you know what it was? It felt like all the GMs got together and had already made their picks of who they wanted, all worked out, and then decided to kind of, okay, give us 20 minutes and then we'll do ours. Yeah, and then give us 20 minutes and then we'll do ours. There never seemed to be like a rush of them in one go. They were nice and spaced out, and it was very good. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, there was a lot of activity. I like there was a lot of speculation about certain things, like the Zach Parise trade was a good one. That was a nice bit of drama and intrigue.
I was convinced that I'd already gone through. It wasn't until the day after I was reading Bill Gowen's quote, which was essentially, I mean, we tried to get rid of him, but we couldn't, so we still love him. And I was like, hang on, he didn't go anywhere? What? I was like, okay, no, he actually stayed.
That was all just a fever dream that I had.
Yeah, while trying to take notes on all these bloody trades for this show. Here's what we'll do. Places will sometimes do sort of team by team, but that was just too much work for me and for you. So I'm sorry. I've said it a million times, I don't get paid to do this. I do it because I love it. I'm not going to go through and collate every single team's trades. I'm just not going to do that. I haven't got that much free time. So we'll go through the major trades one by one. And if you have a rampant desire to talk about it or anything around that, then we can. But there will be some we'll just breeze past, and there'll probably be a couple that we just didn't talk about because they're just not important. And we'll start with the earliest big one, which is relevant to my interest as the Boston Bruins acquire Ondrej Kase in exchange for a 2020 first round pick, David Backes, and prospect Axel Anderson. And I will say, Anaheim Ducks fans are incredibly, incredibly annoyed by this trade.
As they should be.
As they should be. I completely agree.
Injuries aside, Kase, even like 45 games a year of Kase is infinitely more value. Like, it's a good thing they got a first round pick for him. That is very much a good thing. And to an extent though, if the Ducks are really leaning in on this rebuild, then why not take on David Backes?
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like given the prices that are being handed out for some forwards at the moment, you could probably have argued for another prospect on top of that if you're taking on. Because I think Kase should probably demand a first and a prospect anyway, given that he's young, or he's RFA, so he's going to be cost controlled for X amount of years, and he's fucking good when he plays. Still not the worst thing in the world, and a steal for Boston, really.
Yeah, like we said, it's just keeping him healthy, isn't it? If he can stay healthy, then it's fine. The Bruins should be in the playoffs anyway, but with sort of 7 or 8 games to go, if it looks like they're going to be fine and everything's secure getting in, then they'll just probably they might just give him rest now and again, because that has been a concern, his health. So yeah, I agree.
I don't know what his problem is, whether that's something you can treat with a bit more rest or anything, but yeah, do whatever you can to keep him useful.
Fair play to Don Sweeney. He's taken a lot of grief before, but I think he did a good job on that one for sure.
Yeah, I think he's fairly cemented as a good GM now, really, isn't he?
The Winnipeg Jets acquire Cody Eakin from the Vegas Golden Knights for a conditional 2021 4th round pick. I'd also checked on this one because that seemed like a very low price for me for what I think is all right, fair enough. Cody Eakin, not going to set the world on fire, but for a decent NHL player, a conditional 4th round pick in 2021 seemed like quite a light deal. But it appeared that from Vegas fans that he was just, Cody Eakin had kind of had his time there and it wasn't working out. And did you know, Will, that Cody Eakin took the first ever Golden Knights face-off?
Did he really?
He did indeed.
There you go. I think it's the last year of Eakin's contract. Yeah, he's a rental, so that's fine business from the Jets. Like Eakin's not a bad player, really. And even when he was in Dallas, like he was one of those polarising players because he was playing too much for as good as he was, and he was paid too much for as good as he was. But he still wasn't a bad player. I reckon there are at least 100 NHL players out there that are worse than him. So
praise indeed for Mr. Eakin there.
Well, from a league that has 700 players in it, it's not. I wouldn't say it's too much of a cuss. But
I just got to throw this in. Sorry, it's just reminded me, saying you're setting the bar low by saying. I mean, there's hundreds of players who are worse than you, mate. Thanks, the great compliment there. Thanks.
Hundreds, mate. Hundreds.
One of those things came up on Facebook tonight, and my wife was reading it to my daughter, and it's one of those ones where you ask the kid about yourself, and then they give you the honest answer. So my wife's reading these things out. What does mummy like to do? What does mummy think is fun? So I said, let's do it for me as well then. So one of the questions was something like, why is daddy a good daddy? George just said, he makes me laugh and we play games and he's funny and he's nice and all, the usual kind of stuff. So my wife said, well, when my dad, he used to hit us sometimes. He was crazy sometimes. And George just kind of looked at my wife and said, wow, did he hit you sometimes? She said, yeah, when he got angry, if we were nutty, he'd smack us on the bum really hard. And she said, Daddy doesn't do that. He's a great daddy. And I said, so I'm a good dad because I don't hit my kid. Wow, thanks a lot.
If only
really
it was
setting
that
the bar
easy
high.
to resist the urge sometimes.
Because I don't give my kid a backhander. I'm a great dad. Oh, brilliant. Thanks.
Congratulations.
You knew.
You should be really proud.
Thank you. I am. I'm very proud of myself for never hitting my kid.
For resisting the urge of hitting a defenceless child.
Yeah, child abuse. Brilliant.
Cody Eakin is like the equivalent of not abusing children.
Yeah,
for the trade deadline. And they didn't pay a first round pick for him, so great.
Brilliant. See, getting a non-child abuser only cost a conditional 2021 fourth. I mean, yeah, what's not to love?
Bargain. Absolute bargain.
Okay. Here's one of my little talking points on this. The Washington Capitals capture Ilya Kovalchuk from the Montreal Canadiens for a third-round pick in 2020. Who knows what is going on with the Habs? Because they are again in the middle of a we're not entirely sure what we're doing type thing. And last year, Bergevin was talking about rebuilding on the fly and we're trying to be competitive but still have pieces. And they do. They have 18 picks in the next 2 years in rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I know you need to find those players in later rounds sometimes. We all know about the stories about players being found in round 3 or round 4. And if you have a ton of picks, that's great. But you need those high-end first-rounders who can make a difference. I think players like Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar are perfect examples of that. That they went 5 and 4 respectively. The Habs are not making the playoffs. And you've got loads of interest in Jeff Petrie, loads of interest in Tatar. And he's just kind of well, yeah, but we don't really want to because what are they doing? They're just going to be stuck in the middle again.
I had an epiphany the other day about the Canadiens.
Oh, go on. Oh, nice.
They're just the wild bit in the Eastern Conference.
Fuck me, that take is like rocket fuel. Oh my days.
Think about it. So they've got an ageing D-man who was once incredible but can still munch the minutes in Shea Weber versus Ryan Suter. Yeah. The only difference is goal because they've got Carey Price, but even then, he's not as good as he was, and Devin Dubnik's not as good as he was. And then they haven't got a particular star, bar Carey Price. At forward, they definitely haven't got any stars. They've just got a lot of fine to decent players, and they're constantly in the middle. They're just the wild, but in the East.
If any of you Canadiens fans would like to get in touch with the show, please remember that those views expressed by Will Everett are not expressed by myself, just in case.
Bring it on, mate. Bring it on. Bring me a smoked meat sandwiches and I'll fucking eat them. There you go. That's my threat to you. Yeah, Canadiens fans are
Pretty annoyed. I did have a quick conversation with Jason Paul on Twitter before the show, and he just said, you're going to be using my Bergevin truths situation, because he's been putting on Bergevin, like quotes from Marc Bergevin about what he expects of the team and what they're doing, and he just keeps Bergevin just keeps contradicting himself all the time. Again, as we've discussed before, probably because nobody's going to tell him to his face he's made a mistake, because he'll crush them like a grape. But he's got to be held accountable at some point.
Because he's doing nothing. He's
done nothing.
He's tried to rebuild them and hasn't done it very well.
It was interesting in this regard because he said about Kovalchuk, well, you know what, there were certain offers on the table, but we weren't going to send him somewhere he didn't want to go. Talking like Kovalchuk had been there for 15 years and was like his godson or something. Like, mate, he's been there for 51 days. If you could get a second or something and you're sending him back to, I don't know, fucking Chicago, do it. Who gives a shit?
Mate, I don't know though, because like a third for a geezer who's been shit this year, shit last year, and has had one incredible run of 13 points in 22 games. Come on, let's be buyer beware sort of thing. Who's to say he's probably going to fucking disappear in Washington? He's going to do...
No, I get it, but Bergevin was making out that there were better offers on the table than the one from the Caps, but he wouldn't do it because he said, "Oh, we're not going to do Covey dirty like that because we want to send him to a team where he's got a chance." What are you talking about? The guy's been there for less than 2 months. Just weird. And I found out an amazing stat today. He was being talked to in a scrum. A reporter brought up that, and we discussed this on the show. God, do you remember we talked about the Canadiens drafting a few months ago, and we kind of talked about the players they drafted and how they hadn't really set the world on fire. Like, they're fine, but big whoop, who gives a shit? And they're saying that ever since Bergevin's like hit the reset button on this team, since like the last 2 years, the consensus of the team is that they have like you said, they've got 0 star caliber. And since 2002, since Trevor Timmins took over from scouting, not one player they've drafted and developed has scored more than 70 points in a season. 18 years, not one player they've drafted has scored more than 70 points in a season.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
That is terrible. That is absolutely terrible. And do you know what he said? He said it's all just down to luck. This is a quote from Bergevin about the terrible drafting and development of the Canadiens. "I don't go to the casino, but if you play blackjack, you play the odds. I know it's difficult for fans to understand, and for you guys to understand, but when you sit at the table and you see the names go by, you have to get lucky." All right.
I mean, to an extent, he's right.
Yeah. There should also be that kind of, in 18 years, how many players have they drafted in 18 years and not one of them has got over 70 points?
Yeah, how much?
On the opposite side of that, that's not bad luck. That's bad recruitment, bad coaching, bad development. That's what that is.
If you keep twisting on 16 in blackjack, then that's not bad luck. That's just fucking idiocy.
16, hit me. 23, hit me. I don't think you get the game, sir. Hit me. It's a Family Guy joke, but just weird, absolutely bizarre.
He's got to go, hasn't he?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, yes, of course he does.
He absolutely does.
Of course he does. But I'm trying to think, like, if he's not gone now, or like when?
When's he ever going to go? He's gonna.
When's he ever going to?
Not until he's as old as Lou.
The second Bergevin made that Marcos Candela deal, Pageau should have been on the phone to Botterill like, "Fuck off, you're fucking dumb, mate. I've just seen what he's got from the Habs. Like, you forget it." But like the second some of these trades went through, and it's just like, "Oh, another Canadiens draft pick in round 3 or 4." He should have been gone immediately. Like, what are you doing? You need some first round draft picks for a rebuild.
Yeah, he should have. I don't know. It's like he's in two minds. He doesn't want to tear it down, but he equally understands that his team aren't very good.
I've always said this, I get you have to put bums in seats. I get you have to have a fan base, but I genuinely think if you're like the Rangers did, if you're honest with the fans, let's be honest, we're not going to do well. We're not going to make it. We're going to sell off some of our top assets. We'll take a hit early doors, and then we're going to rebuild. And then hopefully, free agency comes around. You can pick up a Panarin. You go through the draft. You trade. You get some first round picks. You can get especially in this draft. Even up to picks kind of like they're saying up to picks like 55, 60 are going to be really good players. I mean, you if you can pick like 2 or 3 times in the top 40. But no, it's just more kind of, we'll pick 87 and pick 99 and...
Which would be fine if you had any record of drafting at all.
Also a fantastic point, as we've just said, that since 2002, yeah. That shit.
If Tampa Bay are loading up on 3rd rounders and 4th rounders, you think, all right, yeah, fair enough, I can probably do something like that. But
yeah,
directionless is how I'd describe the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah. The Edmonton Oilers acquire Mike Green from the Detroit Red Wings for Kyle Broziak and a conditional pick in 2020 or 21. I have nothing on this. Do you, Will?
I couldn't even tell you what Mike Green has done at all this season.
The Ottawa Senators acquire a... Oh, sorry, go on.
All I'd say is fair play, worth a go. Like, he's playing on a historically shit team. He has been good previously. He can't be any worse than any of the players that you're already playing on D and that team, so...
The Ottawa Senators acquire a 4th-round pick in 2021 for Vlad Nemesnikov, who goes to the Colorado Avalanche.
I think that's what the Senators paid for him from the Rangers.
Yeah, they did.
So, yeah, why not? Like, you've come out sort of net neutral or whatever, however you want to put it. Yeah, handy pickup for the Avs. Like, I've always liked Nemesnikov. He's not flashy, but like if you chuck him on the power play, he's got that instinct sort of thing. Fine player.
You know me, I fucking love a good depth pickup. I love them. You know I do.
If you've got Nemesnikov on your 4th line, you're fucking laughing.
Yeah, for sure. I know you're going to talk about this one. The New York Islanders acquire Jean-Gabriel Pageau from the Ottawa Senators for a 2020 conditional 1st-round pick, a 2020 2nd-round pick, and a 2022 conditional 3rd-round pick. What do you want to do first? How many draft picks the Sens have? How are they going to afford to pay all these players if they draft them? Or do you want to do the contract that Pageau then signed?
I'd quite like to do the contract first, because that is just lunacy.
The floor is yours, my friend.
I can't remember how much it is. I'm trying to load up.
It's 6 years, 30 million.
What are you doing giving a geezer who's going to turn 28 this year? So you got him signed basically through until he's 34 functionally, who is traditionally a 3rd-line centre. When you've already got Brock Nelson, you've already got Derek Brassard on your team who's having a resurgent year. Like, mate, he's going to turn back into a pumpkin. Geezer's on a shooting percent bender on his contract year. Yeah, where have we seen this story before? I just never broken 50 points. This is the first year he's broken 20 goals. What are you even doing here? Absolute waste of money. It's almost like a demented old man is running that club now. Almost.
Yeah, 43 points is the most that Pageau's ever had. And that was in 2015-16.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's not even having a career
5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years. He's going to get 44 points and have a career year.
Everyone's talking about how he's overperforming and he's not even having a career year. It's like, oh, mate, come on. What's the condition on the first? Oh, it's top 3 protected.
Top 3 protected, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's better than Barclay Goodrow. I don't know if he's better than Blake Coleman, but I mean, he's a good rental pickup. But I wouldn't have necessarily paid that much for him, and I wouldn't have given him that extension. So,
would you have paid the going rate for him for a rental pickup at the deadline?
What, first in the prospects?
First prospect and an NHL player.
Can that NHL player be Ross Johnston? It's too easy.
All right, yeah, why not?
It's too easy. I don't know. I think so. But I feel like while this was a good deadline as fans and like it was busy, there wasn't a lot out there. I think the GMs who won are the ones who didn't do anything.
I wonder why you're saying that.
But even ignoring the fact that my particular team didn't do anything, because I wanted them to. There was talk of them getting Jumbo. I'd have killed for that. Whether it was the right decision or not, I want Jumbo Joe Thornton on my team. Who was the best player that got moved at the deadline? There's
a few that you could class as good. Trocheck, maybe?
Oh, yeah, Vinny Trocheck, I suppose. I'll give you that. But then the Hurricanes have to give up like Eric Hauler and stuff like that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, Athanasiu, maybe, but that's still not... I wouldn't necessarily... He wasn't exactly on the trade board anyway, was he?
No, fair point.
Strictly. I hate the trade. No, don't hate the trade. Dislike the trade, hate the deal for Pageau. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm not keen on that deal at all.
That's bad. That's bad stuff right there. Bad juju.
If he decides, okay, I'm going to go to Islanders, I want a deal if I'm going, fine. You want to give him 6 years? Fine. That is what happens now. Players are not going to accept a deal to take them until they're 31 anymore. We've talked about this forever. They're just not. That's fine. But $5 million a year, maybe we'll come back and admit we're wrong, but fucking I can't see it. I can't see it all.
Islanders cap friendly.
Oh yeah, I was just on there.
Next 3 seasons, they've got 6 forwards tied up for the next 3 seasons. All at a cap hit of 5 million or more. Can you tell me those players? And even their cap hits.
Okay, so we've got Pageau, 5 million.
5 million, yep. Through to the 25 or 26-27 season. Fucking hell.
Andersley makes 7, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Again, through to... becomes UFA 2026.
Andrew Ladd makes 5.5 because I remember seeing him. Because I only remember that because I remember him seeing him in the Parise talk. Was Andrew Ladd?
That's until 2023. Yep.
Isn't Andrew Ladd like 35 or something?
He's 34 today.
Some of the 5.5 million for another 3.5.
He's going to be like 37, making 5.5 million. Oh yes.
Oh, Jordan Eberle must be one.
Jordan Eberle. 5.5 until 2024.
5.5. Did I say Brock Nelson?
You have now 6 million until 2025.
Oh, fuck. This is one more. Who am I missing? Komarov's not making 5, is he? I'll kill myself.
Komarov is 3 for the next 2 years after this one.
Okay. God, that was close.
You've got the second oldest out of that group that you're missing.
Fucking hell. I can't believe I got 5.
Maybe a player that you wouldn't think of being 30 years old.
Nah, mate, I got no idea.
Josh Bailey at 5 million until 2024.
No way.
Yeah. Josh Bailey's 30. That's mad.
Haven't they got to pay Barzal this year as well?
Oh, fucking hell. Not
Is that
anymore.
right? Or is that next year?
That is correct.
That's this year, this summer.
This summer.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Fucking hell.
And they don't have to, but Derek Brassard's a UFA, and he's been handy for them this year. They've got to pay Ryan Pullock, who I think is one of their top pair in D-men.
Boychuk and Leddy are still on a chunk, aren't they? Aren't they on about 6 each or something like that?
Yeah, 6 and 5.5 for the next 2 years after this one. Mate.
Barzal's going to have to be the... all right, so hang on. Oh, fuck, I love when we do this. Hang on. Right, Islanders, let's have a look. Okay, here we are. So they've got 41 million tied up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nah, if they go with the forwards they've got signed now, still signed, then yeah. But they've got to fit Matt Barzal into that group.
That's got to be another 8, at least.
It's got to be. Although he's 22, he's not going to take 8 years, is he?
I mean 8 million.
8 million. I think Barzal's going to take what, 5 years?
5 years, yeah.
Matthews. I think he's going to go. I think he's going to try and 5 at 10.
Yeah, I don't know if he gets 10.
He could do though, couldn't he? Let's be honest.
Probably could do, couldn't he? Yeah. But
scrolled. Oh no! Hang on. I didn't scroll down to injured reserve.
Oh yeah, Cal Clutterbuck, 3.5 mil.
Okay. Cases Zikas, 3.3.
Fucking
dearie me.
Idiots.
Dearie me.
Surrounded by idiots.
They've currently got... Oh, I love when we do this. I love it. Honestly, I could eat this. It's so good. They've currently got 16 players signed for next season at 70 million.
That
doesn't include Barzal. That is rough. And you're giving Pageau 5 million.
That's so bad. So bad. You talk about GMs thinking, I'm not gonna be around working here to see the last year of that contract. Like, Lou's got.
He literally won't be around.
I do not give a fuck. I'll be dead and buried before this geezer stops getting the money from the New York Islanders. Got any more trades for me, Dan?
Let's quickly discuss the Sens. We've talked about this before. They now have
23 over the next 2 years, I think.
23 over the next. They've got 7 in the. Well, if the Islanders works out this year, they'll have 7
in the first 2 rounds. Mental.
In the first 2 rounds this year, which is all fine and good. But as we've all discovered playing NHL 20, and as Kyle Dubas has discovered playing real life games, there's going to be a point where these players will mature together and want to get paid together. And it's like, how's that going? It's not going to happen.
Because he's paid like Colin White or whatever, hasn't he?
Yeah. Well, obviously Shabbat is the big one, and he's on 8 million.
He's not strictly against.
Yeah, but that's fine. But when you've
got 17 players that are like, I'd like 7 million, please.
You've got 7 picks before you get to number 65 or 63 in the draft. You've got 7 players. If 3 of those blossom and develop, you're fucked. Like, you're completely fucked.
I don't know what to say, because who knows what's going to happen. It'll be an interesting little storyline for the old Sens. See if Eugene will open the purse strings. In theory, they'll be generating more revenue and more profit by that point because they'll have better players.
Another thing with the Sens is you do need older players, don't you, to help guide the younger players through. You can't just have a team full of 25 or 22-year-olds. It just doesn't work. Maybe they'll break the mold. Maybe they'll do it.
Just all ELC. Maybe
that's the new model.
I don't know. There's a young GM in the north who's trying to do that, and it doesn't seem to be working for him.
That's a good point. Just as always, keep your eye on the Sens because they're brilliant. I love them. Crazy
the
bastards.
Fun never stops.
Fun never stops. The Carolina Hurricanes acquire Vincent Trocheck from the Florida Panthers for Eric Howler, Lucas Wallmark, Chase Prisky, and Eetu Luostarinen. This was a little bit of a surprise, but after doing a little bit of digging, it appears that the Panthers were not too happy with Trocheck and his output, shall we say. So they kind of thought, right, let's change things up a bit. This was the more surprising one.
Yeah, definitely.
When it first happened.
It's surprising that the Panthers wanted to get rid of him, especially for a player that in Eric Howler who hasn't fit in with the Hurricanes really. And Prisky is meant to be a good D prospect, and he's from Florida, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
If memory serves. So that's cool. That's really cool. Not a great haul from Florida. I think you'd have been better off keeping on a Trocheck, but apparently there's a bit of a talk of it potentially being a salary dump as well.
Yeah, Trocheck makes, I think, just under 5.
And there's apparently a mandate from the top to cut some salary. So if that's the case, all right, fair enough. I don't think that's how you should run your hockey club, but whatever. Good win for the Hurricanes, as always. Seems like that's all they ever do nowadays. Just rob people in trades.
The Montreal Canadiens acquire a 5th-round pick in 2021 for Nate Thompson, who goes to the Flyers. I assume nothing on this, Will?
All right, whatever. Don't know what you're doing trading for Nate Thompson in 2020, but fair enough.
Pittsburgh Penguins get Patrick Marleau from the San Jose Sharks for a 3rd-round pick in 2021, which is conditional. As we already discussed, this was a fantastic idea just for the story.
I think on ice, fair enough. Marleau... I'll be honest, I don't quite know how well he's done at San Jose this year, but I'm sure he's worth the gamble, isn't he? He's on a league minimum sort of deal, so if it doesn't work out, you can jettison him fairly easily. Chuck him on waivers, scratch him, whatever you want. Yeah.
Just shoot him off. Just shoot him off into space like Spock in the sunglasses case in Star Trek 2.
I'll take your word for it, yeah.
He had 20 points in 58 games for the Sharks this year.
It sounds like he's 42 years old, or however old he is.
I want him to put him on Sid's line so he racks up 60 points in the next 2 weeks.
Gets a 5-year contract at $9 million a year. It's one of those ones, it's worth a gamble. He's got the skill, or had the skill, and the brains to be a high-level player. So, yeah, if he clicks with Sid, then you're laughing.
Yeah. I'll tell you, it's players like this are always worth a gamble. It's just one of those players that their name just pops up and you're like, I can't believe they made a move for him, and then he scored this goal or made this pass or something. I don't know. It's written in the stars, in my opinion. Colorado Avalanche, for some reason, do the Toronto Maple Leafs a massive favour by taking Michael Hutchinson in exchange for Calle Rosen. God knows why. Will, that was my thoughts. Anything here from you?
I think they just needed an AHL goaltender and didn't need Calle Rosen for whatever reason. So, whatever.
We have already discussed Wayne Simmonds' hype train finding its way to Buffalo for some reason.
Yeah, incredible move on both sides. Quite literally incredible. I'm unable to offer any credibility to this trade.
For the second time on trade deadline day, the Bruins and the Ducks do business, with Nick Ritchie going to Boston and Danton Heinen, in somewhat of a surprise, going to Anaheim. But it then turned out this was also a bit of a kind of a salary cap move, with the Bruins having certain players to sign next year, such as Torrey Krug and Matt Grzelcyk and Jake DeBrusk, but also a shrewd pickup. And Ducks fans were also mad at this one, because if you looked at our friends at Wave Intel, if you looked at their data sheets, it turned out that Nick Ritchie is a very good player compared to Danton Heinen. So the Sweeneyest has struck again.
Yeah, you're happy with it then, Dan?
Yeah, very happy. I was surprised at first. I think, Danton Heinen's been a name that's kind of always floated around the Bruins, and he's just a guy who's kind of in and about it, and his name pops up, he has a couple of good games, and he disappears for a bit. But I thought they'd kind of give him a bit more time. But maybe the Bruins have all kind of fully embraced the analytical culture, because Nick Ritchie is a far superior player to Danton Heinen. So in a 1-for-1 trade, and you save $1.4 million in salary cap, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, definitely. I like Nick Ritchie, and if you're getting him for strictly being in your bottom six sort of thing, it's definitely a good pickup. And I like that whole idea of cutting bait on players. Yeah, saying, right, he's not strictly flopped, but he's not doing exactly what we need him to, so let's move him out and do it now before he completely loses value or whatever. So yeah, another good move by Don Sweeney.
Nick Ritchie there on the bottom six for Will, playing tonight in the top six alongside David Krejci.
Oh, what a fucking terrible move then.
Somebody put the stats up of when Nick Ritchie and Andre Kasha played together on the same line, and they're so good. They're so good on the same line. It's ridiculous.
Krejci in the middle of those two, and you're well away.
The Edmonton Oilers acquire Andreas Athanasiou, who got injured against the Golden Knights last night, which, okay. And for a second-round pick in 2020, a second-round pick in 2021, and everyone's favourite piece of trade bait, Sam Gagner.
Good move, to be honest, yeah. Like, it's another one of those ones where a lot of people will be thinking, oh, why didn't my GM make that trade? But Athanasiou's got good skill, he's fast, so in theory he might be able to keep up with Connor McDavid. 2 seconds isn't a bad price, especially when you consider the sort of stuff that you get for a first-round pick in this day and age. I like it. It's a shame he's gotten injured, but he's RFA as well, so yeah, he's cost-controlled. Really good pickup, I'd say.
A future friend of the show, Dmitry Filipovich, put on a really funny tweet last night, which was Athanasiou was skating along and he had McDavid next to him, and McDavid passed the puck behind him because he's clearly used to playing with really slow players. Because Athanasiou could keep up with him. McDavid just played. There was nobody near Athanasiou, and McDavid just passed the puck behind him. Like, that's where it's normally going to go when Alex Cheerson's there, because he's a lot slower than me.
Now McDavid's just exposing himself as a fucking fraud.
Yeah, show off.
He's
look at me, I'm really fast.
Equivalent of Bebe.
Fucking Bebe. If any of you get that, oh my god, there's a reference.
Living the dream.
And then a fine player was Bebe. One of our heroes, a snake it till you make it. What a guy.
Talk about the bloody Premier League Hall of Fame. Bebe's got to be straight in there.
For sure. A few minutes after that, the Edmonton Oilers acquire Tyler Ennis from the Senators for a 5th-round pick in 2021. I will say,
fucking bargain.
I really, really liked all of Edmonton's pickups. I thought they did some fantastic business.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely the sort of low-risk stuff, especially Tyler Ennis. Like, everybody should have been banging down the Senators' doors for Tyler Ennis.
Agreed.
He was always going to be cheap, and he's worth the risk. He's worth it. He's just going to be a solid, good skill addition for your third line or your fourth line or whatever.
A 5th-round pickup. Who was it before? Wayne. You could have had, for the same price, Wayne Simmonds or Tyler Ennis.
Oh,
Fucking hell.
Or you could have got...
How has Jason Bottrell still got a job? How?
It's because Terry Pagula doesn't fucking know what's going on.
God, he mustn't do. Maybe he's in a 9 lung or something. Maybe his kids are running the team for lols. Fuck knows what's going on.
Sitting on a yacht, hoovering up Charlie, and doesn't give a fuck. That's what's happening.
Hoovering up Charlie. For some reason, whenever you say Charlie, I always laugh. I don't know why.
It's good.
The Calgary Flames acquired Derek Forbort for a 4th round pick. Why? I don't know. And then more surprisingly, they acquired Erik Gustafson for a 2020 third round pick.
Why is that? The geezer had 60 points last year.
All right.
As a dirty D-man done dirt cheap.
Did you see... All right.
He's speechless. It's over. No, don't even bother. You've flopped 3 times in a row.
You know, sometimes like your brain hurts so much you can't just like you just can't get your words out.
The idea of Erik Gustafson being traded to the Flames gave you an aneurysm.
Did you see that heat map that Micah put up for Erik Gustafson?
No, I didn't.
I'm not going to say right. I'm not going to say anything. I'll just say he's a reverse Luke Glendenning.
He's no Luke Glendenning, I'll tell you that.
He's no Luke Glendenning.
Is he really? Has he been that bad this year?
This deal was one of Micah's famous no's. You know, for $1 million a year, I'll just say to a GM 5 times no. This was one of them, and he put it out and said, "This is one of my 5. This is one of my no's for this year."
That's very interesting,
isn't it?
Oh.
Right. See?
Interesting.
As you know, Will, I am Mr. Analytics, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say. I should probably look at the Chicago one rather than this Calgary one.
I think it's quite easy if you're a player for the Blackhawks to have lots and lots of points. If maybe there's another player on your team called Patrick Kane who also scores lots and lots of points, and you can kind of mooch off him.
Oh yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Chuck him on the power.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is William who's been stunned into silence.
Not to go against our dear leader Michael McCurdy, but
but his figures are wrong. He's wrong.
He's just wrong. He's just wrong. He just
wrong.
ain't right. His data's off. No, I still think, why not? Give him a go. What? Who cares?
You
anyway?
never know.
Whatever.
Maybe he's really good in the room.
I doubt it. He's European, Dan. I don't know if you've heard.
Those pesky Nordics.
Yeah, only Canadians can be good in the room.
The Pittsburgh Penguins acquire from the Buffalo Sabres Connor Sheary and Evan Rodriguez in exchange for Dominic Cahoon. In another move that made me think that Terry Pagula has lost his mind with Jason Botterill.
Well, I don't necessarily mind it from a Sabres point of view, because Cahoon's probably better than either of those players at this stage of the game.
But but here's the problem. He's going to Buffalo. Yes, Dominic Cahoon's fine in Pittsburgh, but now he's going to be in Buffalo. Do you see the problem there?
I just don't get why they're getting Sherry back.
Hey, you get a guy who can play with Sid, because Gensel's out, isn't he? If you don't think that Connor Sheary goes on Crosby's line, right, and puts up, say, 20 points, say he goes a point per game in the next 20 games. Yeah, so
fair enough. All right, fair enough. I get that then. Yeah, why not load up with a guy that Sid squeezed 50 points out of that one year?
Hurricanes acquire Sami Vatanen in exchange for Yanni Kuokkanen, Fredrik Klassen, and a 2020 conditional 4th round pick. I don't mind this one too much.
Yeah, I don't think Vatanen's been very good in Jersey this year, but he has been fine beforehand, and why not load up on D? They've got a lot of D injuries. Why not? Live a little, treat yourself.
Decent depth move. A bit of a surprising one. The Golden Knights acquired out of nowhere Robin Lehner and Martins Jerkels for a 2nd round pick in 2020. Yes, really. It's Jerkels, something like that. Malcolm Subban, Slava Demine, and the Toronto Maple Leafs acquired a 2020 5th round pick in exchange for taking on, was it 50% of the Robin Lehner contract? There's weird percentages. One team took 50, one team took 44, or something weird like that.
Chicago took 50, so Chicago are holding on to $2.5 million. And then Toronto are holding on to 1.1.
Been said for ages that all that Vegas are missing is goaltending. So this move makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely. Because then you've got a tandem of Fleury and Leno going into the playoffs. So you're in a very good position, I'd say.
Absolutely. It is the year of the backup, and Vegas have just got themselves probably a starter at backup. So a decent move.
Yeah, very good move. And hey, they might even re-sign him for next year. Who's to say?
Who's to say? Hurricanes acquire Brady Shea from the New York Rangers in exchange for a first-round pick in 2020, which will be the later pick of either theirs or the Leafs. Brady Shea, Will, what do you think?
He's meant to have not been very good this year. Yeah, I don't know. He was a capable defender, it would appear.
Do you know what it is though? It's like we said about Toronto, the Lightning having Vancouver's first. Hurricanes had 2 firsts. There was going to be somebody that they wanted that the other team was like, well, we want that other first off you. It's just, you don't need it. So that was why, I guess.
And there are worse players to spend a first on than Brady Shea, I think.
Like you said, you are kind of caught. Hurricanes are kind of caught because they are kind of not in a great situation with D-men. So once the team knows that you're kind of after a D-man, well, then there you go.
I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure it'll be fine for him. And if you're lucky, he finds another gear that he sort of flashed glimpses of. And yeah, then you've got yourself a good pickup.
And give the Hurricanes some credit as well, because they've tried to strengthen for a cup run, but that Metro is like insane at the moment. It's so log jammed, it's ridiculous. And I think somehow the second to last team in the Metro is going to have more points than the team that finishes third in the Atlantic.
Oh yeah,
because that would just be the best.
That wouldn't surprise me. I still think that the Rangers could end up with more points than the Leafs.
That would be insane.
That'd be beautiful. That'd make me so happy.
Speaking of the Rangers, Chris Kreider will. He signed a new contract.
Oh, mate. Was it 7 years?
Off you go. Yeah.
7 years, Geezer's 29. Plays a very rough and tumble style. What's the cap hit? 6.5?
6.5.
6.5? Yeah, don't like it, funnily enough. What are you doing giving 7 years to a second line winger who's 29 when you're rebuilding? Nah.
Chris Kreider's a weird one, wasn't it? Because last season there was talk of moving him, wasn't there?
Which they should have done.
And you just have to think the right offer must have just never come in, because the Rangers have just sold off everyone. Any good offer they've just taken it. Yeah, take him. Well, it's fine. We'll work it out. We'll take the picks.
No,
the players
I reckon
or
it was
whatever.
one of those ones where either they always wanted to re-sign him, or like they had perfectly reasonable offers, but were still like, no, we could get more than that. And then it never happened.
Yeah, so they're like, well, fine, we'll just re-sign him then.
I mean, I'd hope they aren't just re-signing him, like resigned to re-signing him sort of thing.
Fine, we'll re-sign. Fine, here's $6.5 million. Fuck's sake, take it.
Oh, you won't offer me Austin Matthews for Chris Kreider? Whatever, I guess I just have to re-sign him then. I really don't like it. I definitely dislike it as much as I dislike the Pageau contract.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, comparing the two, which one do you hate more?
It's just different where the Rangers have a better chance of being better than the Islanders do. So I'm almost more torn up about them giving bad contracts out. It's like you're really shooting yourself in the foot, whereas with the Islanders, it's like, you're only going to be average anyway, so why not lean into your mediocrity?
No, that's a fair point.
Yeah, really don't like it at the very least, Dan.
And then the last majorish one was one we'd already kind of talked about, which was the Tampa Bay Lightning acquiring Barclay Goodrow and a third-round 2020 pick from the San Jose Sharks, who in return received a first-round pick in 2020 and Anthony Greco.
I don't know much about Greco, but
let's have a quick look at it.
So you're sort of trading down and you get Barclay Goodrow. I don't think Goodrow's even worth a third-round pick. Really, is he? I
think he's worth a. You put him in. I think he's worth a third because he's going to a strong team. It's not like you put in a bad. It's not like you put in a decent player on a bad team. He's going to get points, isn't he? Because he's
going to be a fourth-line player probably.
Yeah, but the Lightning's fourth line's decent, isn't it?
Yeah, but still, there's only so many minutes in a game, Dan.
You know what? You make a fantastic point, my friend. You make a fantastic
what, you're going to
point.
take away minutes from Steven Stamkos so that you can play Barclay Goodrow and get your money's worth from him?
Yeah.
It's another one like the Coleman one where, because he signed next year for cheaper, get him now. But do you know where else do you get cost control, cheap, skilled assets, Dan?
Go on, Will. Stun me.
Through the draft.
No way. Who would have known?
Who could have possibly known that? Especially with first round picks, you're more likely to get. Obviously, your first round pick at the end of the 2020 draft isn't going to turn into someone who can contribute for you next year. But geez Louise, to throw 2 first rounders away to Coleman and Goodrow is just unforgivable in my mind.
Barclay Goodrow, 24 points in 62 games this season.
Yeah, which is fine. That's good for a fourth liner.
Yeah,
but he's still a fourth liner.
I know we do this quite a lot. You know, we just talked. Who did we just talk? Who did he use? The Islanders cap hit, didn't we? Next season, he had 16 players signed for 70 million. As it stands right now, next season, the Lightning have 14 players signed for 77 million.
Yeah, that's mental.
That is insane.
That's not on.
And they've only got 2 D-men signed so far for next season.
No, it's got to be 3 because.
Oh no, sorry, it's 3. It's 3. Yeah, McDonald's on injured reserve.
On IR.
Oh yeah, McDonald's on IR.
That's fine.
They got 3.
And they've got to pay Sergachev.
And they've got to pay Sergachev and Chernak.
I don't think Chernak will get too much, but he should probably command about 2 million for a couple of years. I was
going to say, yeah, he's not making league minimum again, is he? Yeah, he's going to get 2 mil at least.
He's not going to be like 40 quid.
Yeah, he's not LeBanc in this thing.
Maybe he'll have to. Someone's LeBanc in it. Sergachev's going to get LeBanked. I'd say
that needs to be like in the new hockey dictionary, like getting LeBanked. Like the promise of being on a good team, so you take a bad paycheck.
Like the Bosman rule for the LeBanc contract.
Isn't that amazing now that we don't say he went? Do you remember when that after happened? We'd say, "Oh yeah, he went on a Bosman." It became like a thing. Like the word became. It just meant something immediate. Like, "Oh yeah, he's been LeBanked."
I
love it.
I was always a bit too young for Bosman. Like I never heard it called. It was always a free transfer to me.
I can't remember what year it was, but
it was like 2000 or something.
Just for those of you who don't know quickly, the ruling was that if a player was out of contract on a team, the team still held the rights to that player. And Jean-Marc Bosman, a player from Holland, said, well, that's not fair. I'm not even under contract. How can this team hold my rights? And he became the guy who enabled every single player from then on until the end of time to essentially move to other teams for free if their contract ran out and take a humongous amount of wages for doing so.
Basically,
and it became known
the
as
first free agent in association football history.
Yes, actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah, he was the first free agent in footy, basically,
and that was
it just became known as doing a Bosman. Like they got him on a Bosman.
90s.
That's mad, isn't it?
Mental.
That's so long ago.
Then you don't really get many free agents in footy, do you?
No, because it's already worked out beforehand. It would be like to compare it then to hockey. Essentially, next season, Mikhail Sergachev. Essentially, now he'd be talking to other teams about where he'd already signed, and sometimes it comes out already that he's already signed a pre-contract agreement. Instead of all this pretend that it doesn't happen in hockey, which it clearly does, but it would just be announced. It wouldn't be like a big secret. It'd just be announced. Oh yeah, Mikhail Sergachev's already signed a pre-contract agreement to go and play for the Kings or something. Like we'd just talk about it.
That's
like it was nothing.
But then you get even weirder things like this. Hakim Ziyech thing with Chelsea, where they've like signed him, they've like bought him, but they're not going to buy him until the summer, and that was done outside the transfer window. Like I don't fucking get it.
You can have all the rules in place you want, can't you? Getting back to the start of the show with caps and goalies, and teams will always find a way around it, won't they? Because you want any edge you can get.
Rules are made to be broken, Dan. Don't know if you've ever heard that one before.
I may have done. A punk rocker such as yourself, well, I'm not surprised at all. You're well aware of that saying.
I've got a great big banner in my bedroom saying exactly that. Right below my "Do Not Enter" sign, and no parents.
It's tattooed across your belly.
Yeah.
Rules are meant to be broken. There we go. Last thing, man versus 8-year-old.
Let's do it.
Hey, Will, you schmuck. You're going to get roasted by an 8-year-old, you fool.
Let's do it. Speaking of 8-year-olds, trade deadline could have been manned by an 8-year-old. I reckon George would have traded fewer first-round picks.
I think. I like the idea to say to my daughter, "Hey George, would you have traded a first for Barclay Goodrow?" No way, Dad. That's mad.
Would I?
Right. Yeah, you fucking kidding? Okay. The good news is you chipped away. It's down to 8 points.
That's really good. That's warmed my cockles. That has.
It might be the latest comeback ever. I don't know, but it is down to 8 points. So you have a little bit of hope leading in. A little bit of hope as we get into the stretch run. First game, Bruins Stars, bitch.
Oh, mate. That's tonight, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Stars, go on.
Fucking knew you'd pick that. You fucking homer. Right. Panthers Leafs.
Panthers.
Mate, I've no idea. I could not. Honestly, if you had a gun to my head, I couldn't pick a team. Just say one of the names, Dan. I can't. I will shoot you if you don't pick a team. I just can't. I don't know.
For you.
Who the fuck knows which Leafs or Panthers team is going to turn up to this game tonight?
It's who's going to flop harder, Bobrovsky or the entirety of the Leafs team?
Just think, it's Bobrovsky versus 3 $10 million forwards plus who couldn't score against the Zamboni driver. Bobrovsky versus the Leafs forwards could be the unstoppable force versus the immovable objects, but in reverse somehow. Whatever it could be, I don't know. And also, do you know what also I love about this is like, it's a classic 6-pointer.
Oh yeah, proper 4-point game, I suppose you'd call it.
Yeah, proper 4-pointer. All right.
The 4-pointerest of all 4-pointers.
Absolutely. The now playoff spot holding Nashville Predators take on the Calgary Flames. Yes, you heard that right.
Oh my God. Yeah, thank God for John Hines.
Maybe that's the story. The Preds.
It's going to be an Erik Gustafson hat trick, and the Calgary Flames are going to win.
I thought you were going to say it's going to be a Gustafson hat trick and the Preds win 9-3.
No, Gustafson's 5-point night is going to drag the Flames to a big fat dub.
Rangers Flyers.
Rangers, I've got to, because they've got to finish above the Leafs in the league standings.
And then Wild Capitals.
Oh, Capitals. Nice easy one to end it.
There we go. Beautiful. Thank you for listening, folks. Will, any last words?
Oh, absolutely not. Fucking hell.
Beautiful. Let's get the fuck out of here, shall we?
Peace.